All right, everyone. Thanks for joining me today. Okay, so I've got to talk about this video that I just came across not recently. And I came across it trying to put content together. And it's an old video of a white man who is basically calling out to all his other white buddies to go and own Africa. Um, and it was very shocking at the type of PSA that he was putting together, which is essentially calling on to his other white buddies that, hey, you guys are missing out. We need to go own these places. And it referenced a couple of countries in Africa. And I want you to listen to this because it is yet another conversation that we need to have as it relates to the enslavement of Africa and African people. But if I go further, I want you to take a look at this video and we'll have a good conversation about this.
Western Africa is starting to get pretty rich, and a lot of international investors are overlooking the opportunities that exist in countries like Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire. I believe that the next generation of ultra-rich billionaires in real estate are going to come from Western Africa. I had an opportunity to do consultation for a development company in Abidjan, and what I saw there was very surprising. The main business district, which is called Plateau, was so well developed that you would have mistaken it for a very wealthy Western city. And some of the areas that were less wealthy, like Cocody, had houses that would put any of our McMansions to shame. We need to have Western-style finance, which is already coming out there, mainly through Deutsche Bank and some of the Swiss banks that are making a lot of inroads into West Africa. As more of us Western investors realize that we can make amazing returns in Africa, we're going to start putting money in there, and it's just going to fuel a big fire.
Yo, I've got to ask a question. And this is me truly asking a question. What would truly make white people happy? What would truly satisfy white people? Because on one front, Africa is a horrible place plagued with diseases, infestations, horrible place that you don't want to go. I mean, you find the likes of the United States who put signs at the airports against going to countries in Africa. They will warn their citizens, do not go here. Demonize the place. And here you have a white man, right? In 2024, I guess that video was done early this year, maybe last year. It doesn't really matter. But in recent time, telling his white buddies, listen, we got to go back to this place. Like they left. They've never left that place before, Africa before. Telling his white buddies, we've got to go here to Africa. You're missing out. And we need to go buy up the place. We need to buy the real estate. And you would think that these guys have left Africa. They've never left the continent. Never. Africa is poor today because of people like him. Africa is poor today, even while it's the richest continent, because of people like him. And so the question I'm asking is, what will truly make white people happy? Because they're not satisfied until they've colonized the entire world, which they've done over and over again. The reason why the world is, certain part of the world is impoverished is because white folks have gone in there and put the handprints on there and made sure that the locals and indigenous people in that country, in those areas, never succeeded. They exploited those places. We can talk about countless places, Africa being one of those places. South America. You can go on and on. And it's almost a plague and a disease where a certain group of people aren't happy until they have looted, destroyed other sets of people at their own benefits. You heard this man say that we need to go to places like Ghana and Abidjan, pointing cities in Abidjan out to go to. Talk about let's use Western financing. You think about that for a second. Western type financing. Do you know what that really means? The Western type financing is the type of one that the likes of IMF, World Bank have used to hold Africa and put Africa at its knees. That's what he's signaling. So we need to go and fool African people. Tell them that, oh, you're going to get a great deal. See, the Western type of financing, if you don't know what that means, is baked in exploitation. You know, is the type, if you've lived in the West long enough, you're familiar with these types of financing. Is the type where you go to the car dealership. You know, you go to the car dealership, you buy a car. Tell you can walk away with this car today. No big deal. Zero down, right? You don't even have to come out of pocket. And you're thinking, wow, this is a great deal. But that type of deal locks you into a debt for the next 10 years. The Western type of financing is the type that tells you can go to school. The government will pay for you. No big deal. Free. A lot of people take it. But then you had a 6% interest rate that locks you in to a debt for 30 years. The Western types of financing is one that tells you can own a house, even though you don't really own it, but it's a marketing strategy where you can own a house, right? Just put down, you know, as low as 3,000, 4,000, depending on the type of loan you get. Conventional, FHA, depends on the loan. You can put as low as 5,000. Sometimes they even tell you you can put nothing down. Back there was a time before, you know, before the 2008 situation happened, where you could get a house, zero down payment. But then they lock you in for 30 years. That is a Western type of financing. It's an enslavement where it gives the allure, right, of you thinking you're getting a good deal. But it's not. It's at your own enslavement. This is what this man is saying, because he knows his white buddies understand that language. You see, a lot of you watching me right now, you don't know what that means. Most of you just heard me break down the Western type of financing to you. Most of you didn't realize that they were all baked into enslaving you. But they know it because they designed it. They designed that type of financing. And that's the type of financing that's been used to put Africa and countries in Africa on its knees. African countries and head of states are presented these types of deals every day, where they go and they think that you're signing great deals that will help their country. They will come in and say, hey, we'll give you funding to help build your infrastructure. Here's what is going to be good for you, right? It's going to create an opportunity for jobs for your people. It's going to begin to impress investors. Like for my country, where I come from England, from America, people are going to like that. They have clean roads and they're going to want to invest. And so these African leaders, hearing these fluff, right? It's called fluff. It sounds good. They sign on the dotted line. But what they don't ask and what they don't tell you is that now you are indebted to them for the next 30 to 50 years. Not to mention, there's a collateral, right, that you have to put up to get that loan. Is the reason why Africa is in debt to the IMF today. Is the reason why Africa is landlocked in a debt to the IMF. Is the Western type financing. It's what comes with looking like gold and silver, right? They come in presented it in a shiny object, but inside of it is rotten and filled with corruption and evil thing that is at your own detriment. Now, a few countries that have decided not to take these so-called Western type financing have been met with either demonization, shunned. There's all these out war against that country. They tell people don't go there. They find their media that demonize these countries because these countries decided that I don't want this financing. So you have this guy who's a colonizer telling his other colonizers, listen, we need to go to Africa. like that sounds so bizarre to me. We need to go to Africa. Like they've left Africa. They've never left Africa. They are in Africa. Right? But what he's literally saying is that I know we've demonized Africa and I know we've squeezed Africa. But hold on a second. There's more countries that we haven't really squeezed here. See, when you talk about Nigeria, Nigeria is a done deal. We've squeezed Nigeria. Right? There are countries that we've squeezed. And we've left them in shambles, but they can't do anything anymore. So we need to go find new routes. So let's go to Ghana. So Ghana, you're in trouble. You're up. Let's go to Abidjan, Cote d'Ivoire. Let's go to Cape Verde. You know, in Cape Verde, if you go to Cape Verde today, you won't even believe Cape Verde is in Africa. Most places never heard of it. If you go to Cape Verde today, if you go there today, you would think you were somewhere in Switzerland. You would think that you were somewhere in some, Monaco, somewhere. You would think that you were somewhere in Paris. If you went to Cape Verde today, it's filled and littered with white people. White people have taken over that island. And then the locals over there, they think it's a good thing. They think, oh my God, that we're so special that we have these white folks who have chosen our own country to come to. But what they don't realize is that these white folks are bringing their mentality and their Western type financing to enslave the locals at their own resources. They come in to use your beach. They come in to use the best part of your land, price you out. You are priced out. You who used to be able to afford a little parcel of land in your country, you can't afford it anymore because the Western people have come in to your area and they've jacked up the rate of everything. Is that a good thing for you? They come in with their dollars. They don't spend your local money, right? They come in with their dollars, spend their dollars to the point now that you have places in Africa who aren't taking their local currencies. They're taking the dollars, knowing fully well that the masses aren't trading in dollars. Knowing fully well that the masses in their country don't have access to the currency of the foreigner. But no, the little piece of people, little piece of, demographic who come in there and jack up the rates, come in their dollar and force them to start trading to them in their own country, in a different foreign person's currency. If you go to places like Ghana today, and I love Ghana, see, Ghanaians are my people. There are places in Ghana now, and it's also in Nigeria too. It's also in South Africa. In a certain part of Western Africa, that they are asking you to pay them in dollars. There's a school in Nigeria who was trying and demanding that everyone that went there paid in dollars. There's a restaurant in Ghana who takes dollars when you go to eat there. Can you imagine this? And so what does that do to people who are from there? They can't afford anything. Hence how the poverty increases. So it's not enough that these types of people, like this man in this video, have had their government, right, sign and indebt Africa into policies that Africa cannot get out of. Africa isn't allowed to trade with certain countries. Africa isn't allowed to indulge in certain businesses with certain countries without getting an okay from the likes of the United States and UK. So it's not enough for these colonizers who have enslaved Africa and African countries in deals back in the 50s, back in the 60s, back when it was the term for the so-called independence that many African countries got in the 60s, 1960s, where these deals were done. It's not enough for them. And they've kept those types of rituals over and over again. That you have a white man today, right, who is on social media telling them, hey, you thought Africa would be done with Africa. No, there are countries in Africa that we haven't really even gone to loot and exploited. We need to go and do this. And the funny thing about it is that you'll find Africans who are going to grin ear to ear that white folks are visiting their countries. You'll find Africans that will come on social media and they will fight our other Africans, say, hey, our country is better than your country. We got white people in our country. We got white people that come to our country. They don't go to your country. They come to our country. They will tell you that. Because if those people really knew that the reason why their country has remained impoverished is because of the so-called white people that they're bragging about in their country. Now, of course, this is not a demonization of all white people. Not all white people are like this. There are good white people that go and visit countries for vacations, enjoy the landmarks. They genuinely go there and visit countries like you would normally go with any other country. So these are not the ones we're talking about. Everyone is free to visit any country, to enjoy the hospitalities of any country. That's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about these ones. These ones go there and they go home, right? This is not what we're talking about. We're talking about the ones that go there. They're not vacationing, right? These are the ones you see in your village. Do you understand what I'm saying? These are the ones that when you are in your rural village, it's muddy road, you find them there. You ask yourself, what is he or she doing in your village? These are the ones where you find in places that you wouldn't expect to see white folks, right? In certain farms, certain mineral areas, right? Where they are in the gutter, in the dirt, with their feet exposed. What are they doing there? These are the ones you need to worry about. These are the ones that are, we're not talking about the ones that go and stay in Ikoyi Hotel, right? We're not talking about those ones. They're there for like 3 days, 4 days, enjoying. That's what we're not talking about those. Those ones are good to go to any country and they can leave. That's fine. They're on vacation. No, we're talking about the ones that are there multiple times and they're in your village talking to your chief. What is he or she doing there? That's the question you need to ask. Because that one works for a larger corporation. He's just a man who's staking the place out, or a woman staking the place out, taking pictures with locals and acting like she's from the church. These are the ones who I'm talking about. Because they're coming there and bribing your chief. They're coming there and putting your chief at gunpoint. They're coming there with so-called Western financing deals, and they're taking intelligence back to their own corporations, only to come in with the big machines and exploit your place. These are the ones we're talking about. So before you start getting all excited that these ones are in your village, playing fake soccer with you in a muddy road, and you think that they're such great because they're taking pictures with you, understand that these are the ones that are causing your demise and making sure that you don't grow. These are the type of one like he's talking about. That's him right there. That's him right there. And this is the part that really teased me off. The part that I really get really pissed off about is that these same ones would tell the likes of us to go back to our countries while we in their country. They will shame us for coming here. They will tell us that, oh, your leaders are so corrupt. That's why you guys are coming here. Go and fix your country. Right? They will give us that lecture. Go and fix your country. These are the ones that piss me off because they're in my country, causing chaos and robbing and looting my country. And the moment we say, listen, you cannot come in here and rob us, these ones will assassinate us. And they have the audacity to tell me that I'm not in your country. I'm going to stay in your country, whether you like it or not. Eat shit. You don't like it? Get the hell out of my country. If you don't like it, get out of my country, because I am here in your country to stay. Since you found it in your interest to go to my country and rob my country, I'm here to benefit, right, from the resources that you stole from my country. Eat shit. And so a lot of us are priced out of our country because they come with the huge dollars and pounds and the huge currencies that your country ain't about to compete with their money. They come with those and they buy up everything at pennies on the dollars and sell it back or rent it back to you I'll price you. You can't live there. You can't. So they do the same thing they do in their country. See, in their country, the institutional racism, here's how it works in the United States. See, back in the days, racism in this country was very open and very, very blatant. Where they said colors not allowed, right? They had water fountains, white here, white only, and black only. It was very blatant. It was right in your face. The country now says, because these types of people have to be evil no matter what. The country now abolished slavery. After it ran slavery for almost 200 years. But you thought that act disappeared? No, it became institutionalized. So they came up with new measures to discriminate, right? So when it came to housing, they came up with redlining, right? Redlining and blockbusting. So basically, redlining is basically where they don't sell houses to people based on geographical location. The banks were doing this. The banks that exist today were doing this. So they had a map and they put a red line in the map. So basically, people that lived in this area didn't get loans for the house, right? And then they came up with BS reasons for that. Oh, it's not that. It's not. We're not racist against anyone. We're not being, profiling anyone. It's just that those areas, the infrastructures are not bad. They're not good for investment. They came up with so BS reasons. Those areas, they marked a line in the map. Happen to be areas that black people lived in. Okay. So they ran that for years. And then the jig was up. So the banks got cited. So they went and got even more clever with the stuff. So now what they do is they jack up the rates. They jack up the rates for real estate. That's the institutionalized racism. Knowing fully well that in a certain geographical location, based on the economic demographic in that location, certain people are not going to be able to afford that. So it only opens up the opportunity for certain people. Now, how are you going to be able to prove that is racism? Because we're not discriminating against anyone. We're just saying the price is $4,000 a month. If you can afford $4,000 a month, you can stay there. Knowing fully well that the average person in that place makes only $1,500 a month. So the $4,000 a month are for the what? Uber rich or certain type of people with certain type of skin color. That's the stuff they're taking to Africa today. So when they buy up your real estate, they'll tell you they're not discriminating against you. They'll jack up the rates and have those real estate buildings for their own friends that come from England, from US, from France, from those places, live in those places, in your own country. In your own country. And guess who's going to be waiting hand and foot for them? Each time they come in there and lodge in those hotels or live in those places, you, at $2 an hour. So the next time you want to be all excited that some white folks are flooding your country, I want you to consider that. Because I think it's dumb for black folks to be fighting amongst themselves over white people in their country. So I'm going to say this and I'm going to close. You see, here's what's going on in America that most people are not telling you. America is falling. It's been a sinking ship for a long time. The banks, the same measure of the so-called Western financing that they've used to enslave everybody and fatten their pockets. They've been so greedy. They've enslaved countries. Their sins are now coming home to hunt them. So the country has been sinking for a long time. They've just been masking it. The country is economically bankrupt. They keep printing money. Their money gets devalued. There's a social upheaval in the country where the level of hate and animosity towards citizens in this country is at an epic proportion. Many are even talking about the worst type of war will be within war in America. So America's enemy is not outside. Americans know that their enemy is within. Their enemy is in Russia. Their enemy is in China. Their enemy is in North Korea. The enemy of this country is within, because the country has created an internal enemy within itself based on the policies that it's put out there for years, and the policies that has favored certain people over others, that's caused a type of animosity that's been brooding for years, is what's really is going to destroy this country. It's not new. Rome was destroyed internally. It wasn't taken down by an outside force. It imploded from within. So there are people who know these things, and they jump in ship. They are secretly jumping ship. They're telling you that Africa is not the place. Africa is a horrible place. Get out of there. Don't go there. Africa is horrible. And so Africans are hearing this and like, oh man, I need to take flights. I need to get out of this place. I need to hurry up. I need to jack out of this place. It's horrible. White people say that this my country is horrible. White people saying it. Look at this. CNN said it. It's on MSNBC. Look, they're saying it about this place. I need to get the hell out. But the entire time while they're getting the hell out to come to a country that's dying, that's sinking fast, these ones are going to your country. And they're buying up the place because they know your country. You don't have the type of policies that's killed their country. The policies you have in your country are the ones that they've used to indebt your country, so they can benefit from that because they brought it to your country. But you don't have the social upheaval that is lurking in the dark in this country, that they know undoubtedly is about to cause a civil war in this country. In American history, the bloodiest war America has ever fought in this country has been the Civil War. Of all the wars that America has fought in its name, the bloodiest war this country has fought has been the Civil War. And people are saying there's about to be another one. So you find a lot of these people building bunkers all over the place. You find them already making preparations. They jump in ship. They're going to Africa. Africa is a safety net for them. And they'll tell you, dumb Africans, to get out of your country, that this is a land of milk and honey, and you leave your country and leave that place for them to go and take. So you have this guy, virtue signaling, say, Leo, let's go over there. So they're leaving secretly. While you're coming to a sinking ship, they're going over there to a safety net. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? Of all the countries, of all the continent in the world, when COVID-19 hit, guess the continent that has less cases of all. Guess. I bet you can't guess. Guess the continent. I bet you can't. Yeah. The one they told you is plagued with diseases. They have very, very horrible medical conditions. They told you this. Is the one that had less cases of COVID and one that eradicated COVID quicker than any other one. So my peoples, open your eyes, open your ears, understand that what glitter isn't always gold. And a lot of you are fooled with mirages, things that look shiny objects. They can always get you with that. Open your eyes. Open your eyes and understand that you are sitting on a gold mine and you need to start investing in your own country. No matter how you think looks to you, that muddy road, that muddy farm, that bushy area, that is your wealth. That is your wealth. You are sitting on a rich soil, not artificial. You are eating foods that don't have artificial preservatives, chemicals. You don't have none of that. They're dying up here quickly. There's a youthfulness in Africa. Africa's most demographic are 18 and 19. Africa is a young demographic. Here is a dying age demographic. Think about that for a second. A place that has told you that they're all land of milk and all honey, and they've sold that to everyone as a high death rate, mortality rate, and a place that they've demonized seem to have a very young workforce. Imagine that. So open your eyes, my people. Don't let anyone fool you. It's the dawn of a new day. Africa is rising, and we're going to be the only ones standing, and it's all over. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Please like the video, share the content, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all
Nu vill jag kunna ge tillbaka allt jag inte kunna ge förut. Det finns ingen annan där som kan stå här by my side, oh why. Sättet du rör på det får mig att dö för dig baby. För de här yardis, de vill ju bara dra ner oss. Men du är fett och vanlig. Och det jag lägger av min tid, jag vill ha det. Du får mig känna safety. Jag kan nog leda baby.